I had a conversation recently with an Uber executive, and she said, "What do you want from us?" And I said, "I want you to be better, because you teach us so much about what could be right in the future economy, and you're a lousy exemplar. It's like if you could just fix some things, you'd be this great story." And one of the things I used to talk with Rachel Whetstone, who used to run public policy and communications at Uber, and I'd say, how can you be so boneheaded talking about self-driving cars as, well, we're going to get rid of the drivers? Why aren't you saying, hey, we did this great experiment starting in 2012 where we use Uber to deliver flu shots. You'd call Uber and you get a nurse with a flu shot. They could have said, imagine all the services that you could deliver with a self-driving car. We're not going to be replacing humans. We're going to giving them a platform for new kinds of businesses, new kinds of opportunities. Right. Why weren't they telling that story?
They were trying to capture all the value.
Exactly. And I think that this idea, though, that increasingly there's this new relationship between humans and machines. The Uber driver is a cognitively enhanced human being. The reason, people in London will know about the knowledge. Knowledge of the streets, the monuments and streets of London.
Yeah, so people don't know the black cab drivers here, they have to memorize the streets of London.
Yeah, absolutely. It's astonishing feat.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because basically you become a human GPS. If I understand it correctly, the test is they'll give you 2 random points in London again and again, and you have to literally recite the turn-by-turn directions that will get you from one point to the other.
Yeah, apparently it physically changes the cerebral cortex somehow.
Right.
They've done studies and it links the left and right brain.
But here's the thing, anybody can do it. And this idea of cognitive augmentation by our devices, what does that make possible? How might we change healthcare? Like if you could have, say, a community health worker who was empowered by AI, you could have a lot more people delivering healthcare, perhaps even on demand. We already know with big data that if you intervene with the heaviest users, often with preventative care, you can actually reduce the costs in the system. That is, everybody could have concierge medicine, just like the rich.
Okay.
If we actually restructured the way we use technology plus people to do more.
Okay. And they didn't do that.
And they didn't do that. It was a missed opportunity.
Will Uber recover and be here in 10 years and be the dominant company in 10 years?
I don't know that they'll be dominant. I do think that they've opened up a lot of opportunity for competitors. Okay. And it's certainly possible that someone else is going to do a much better job. I do think that the Uber model will continue to proliferate. And the thing that I find really interesting, and this is maybe one of the areas where I probably get beat up the most by people who say Uber's a bad guy, and I go, yeah, but look, their algorithms are in their early stage. Just think about search engines like Alta Vista, and they were crappy, and then Google came along with this great innovation. I think the on-demand model is very powerful for a whole lot of reasons. It gives workers agency, and you contrast it to the scheduling algorithms, for example, that are used by most low-wage employers, fast food, retail, whatever. They basically tell you, we're going to give you a 2-hour shift. We're going to give you a 4-hour shift, and these are your hours. Show up or you're fired. Yeah. And people can't have doctor's appointments, they can't take care of their kids. And not only that, the scheduling algorithms can be managed to make sure that nobody gets full-time work because then you don't have to pay health benefits. How crazy is that? The actual function of the algorithm is simply to reduce the costs to the company of human labor. That's evil. Now, Uber's algorithm is we actually have to match up drivers and passengers in real time. It's trying to make an efficient market for labor. And they have to actually, the reason they lose so much money is because they're trying to make that market. They're trying to acquire customers, and they're trying to acquire drivers. And I think there's going to be a stable equilibrium. And if you start thinking about on-demand, it's actually a pretty good way to match up, workers with demand. It may be a better way to match up workers with demand across a wide range of industries, and not just cars. But we have to actually say, well, how are we going to rethink our, benefits infrastructure? Again, I'm not quite sure how different it is in the UK, but here in the US, we, benefits go with the job. So everybody says, well, gosh, if you have a full-time job with a regular employee, you get benefits. So this is contingent work and you don't get any benefits. They go, well, heck, if we can track people with these magic algorithms and big data, we can track their benefits. And I don't care, you work part-time with Lyft, you work part-time with Uber, you work part-time with Amazon Flex. Who cares? We'll allocate your benefits across the companies and they all pay into the pot. There are proposals for portable benefits. Okay. We could rethink policy for that world and create, benefits. Or we could also just say, that's a crazy way to allocate benefits. Let's just create a social safety net that's completely independent of whether you work or not.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.